Griffin at the 2012 Crossroads Film Festival in Jackson, Mississippi. Very happy to be joined with filmmaker Chandler Griffin. And actually, you don't have a film this year in the film festival, right?
We have 6 films.
Now you're bringing these students.
Barefoot has 6 films.
Okay.
I'm the producer, facilitator of the films. So I don't actually make the films. It's not a film by me. I'm just listed as produced and instructed by.
Cool. Yeah. So fill us in a little bit for those who don't know about Barefoot Workshops. Let's hear what it is.
Sure. Barefoot Workshops, we're a nonprofit based out of New York, but I'm a Mississippi native, so from Jackson, grew up here, and what we do is twice a year we come to the Mississippi Delta and we offer 1-week documentary photography, 2-week documentary filmmaking, and 1-week documentary editing.
Cool.
So a total of 8 weeks in the Delta.
Awesome. Wow. And when did all this come into fruition?
I started Barefoot in 2004, and February 2005 we ran our first workshop in the Delta.
And how did that go?
Great. It was awesome. It was like proof that this was a good model and a good idea. The idea of bringing people to Mississippi to help tell our story, and bringing Mississippians into this space to learn how to tell their own story. And it's a real celebration of our stories, of Mississippi stories, whether they're from Mississippi filmmakers or outsiders.
Okay, so it's so people maybe come from all over the country?
Yeah, we've had people come from 21 countries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
that's
in
great.
11 documentary workshops, we've had 100 and something, 120, 30 people from 21 countries. So
wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's great. And what has the process of expansion been like over the past couple years with that?
Sure. Well, we started as just a 4-week documentary workshop, and then we scaled back to a 2-week documentary workshop because we felt like you could do the same thing in half the amount of time, and it made it easier for people to come in. We were only doing 1 workshop a year, and then we started running 2 workshops a year, and then we started running 6 workshops. Or 3 workshops twice a year. So it's really kind of expanded naturally as far as adding documentary photography and editing the documentary. So it's kind of like a lot of it's been based on what the people who sign up. I say, well, what would make it better? And they say, well, it'd be great if we could just have a 1-week doc photography or an additional week of just editing the documentary. And so we responded to that, and it's worked.
Cool.
So.
And what type of people do you find that you draw? Is it all different types of people?
Great question. It's like across the board. It's like everything from someone who's 20 to someone who's like in their 60s. It's like across the board. You can be like a yoga teacher, you can be like a photojournalist, you can be a print journalist, you can be like an artist, you can be someone on Wall Street who has had enough of Wall Street and quit their job and decided they want to make a documentary.
Yeah.
You have people who are filmmakers who want to learn more, like maybe they're a director and they've never actually shot anything and they don't really know how to operate the camera or how to edit or how to do sound, and so we get people from all walks of life.
Cool.
So.
Well, that really must be fun, your role in it, to help facilitate, catalyze these people who may never have made a film before or never have found their means of a voice, helping them come and, show their stories. I really enjoyed a lot of the stories that we saw in the screening. There were about 8 of them.
We had 6.
6, okay.
We had 6, but I think there were 9 total, but we had 6, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. I think people come in and we make 10 to 12 minute documentaries in 12 days, which is pretty much impossible. So I think people come with this is crazy, I trust you, but this is impossible. And so I think it's a lot more than just filmmaking. There's also this kind of journey that people go on where they really have to prove to themselves that they can complete the process, which has nothing to do with filmmaking. And also with a lot of creatives, we're notorious for not having deadlines and not finishing anything. And we have these great projects and we do this and we do this and we put it on the shelf with the 12 other projects. And so it's we always say that we create this bubble where people can come into it and they can just focus on this one aspect, this one process, and in the end they're guaranteed that they'll make a film. They're guaranteed that they'll screen it to an audience and that they'll be happy with it.
Wow.
And it may be impossible, but they'll do it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you're definitely right that there's always that deadline factor going on, and it just seems like things always take longer with film in a way. So that definitely seems like a valuable benefit that you would bring to someone. Like, okay, we can walk you through this. You can watch yourself complete a process and show. Yeah, that's definitely valuable. That's cool. So what has it been like for you to go from, having your own voice, your films that you're making, because do you make most of them just on your own?
Yeah, well, now I make films with my wife. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
but it's a good transition going from making your own films to working with other people to help them make their films. And I kind of see it as like, I think I'm an artist more than I am a filmmaker. And so like the creative process for me is not just about me making my own films. It's about facilitating others and helping them find their voice and find their vision. And that for me is like my art project. Cool. So I look at people who are like, oh, aren't you upset because you don't make your own films? I'm like, no, this is like my art. This is like how I express myself.
Yeah.
And people get up there and show their films and they sit there with the people who are in the films and everyone's really excited and they feel like they've accomplished something and they've honored someone's story, and like that's awesome for me too, So I get just as much out of it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a nice difference in perspective. I know, like, when I will help someone or teach someone something, you notice all the little things that maybe you had overlooked before or whatever. Do you have any, maybe, I don't know, tips or just what your perspective would be like about what you have continued to learn now in this phase of your, art project?
Tips about teaching?
Tips about filmmaking or teaching, or what has shifted the most from you going and making your films to now helping other people in your perspective?
I think the one thing I learned, and again, I think it has nothing to do with filmmaking, but it's patience. And patience and trusting yourself and trusting like what you are capable of doing, regardless of what you really think you're capable of doing. Like really like knowing that deep down, like there's this ridiculous potential that we all have, and that's the one thing I'm constantly reminded of, and I'm constantly questioning myself. Like we get in these workshops and I'm like, I don't know if these films are going to get done, and I don't tell anyone that because they'll be like, wait a minute, whoa, like you said that we're going to finish these, but like Wednesday of week 2, I'm always like, oh my goodness, I don't know if these are going to get finished, and I go in my room and I sit by myself and I'm like, oh my goodness, what happens if we fail? And that's exactly what the participants, they're saying the same thing, but they don't know that I'm also saying that. So, and then we all kind of like dig deep and like find it in ourselves to complete the stories. And so, and again, that's a universal truth. That's something that has nothing to do with filmmaking. It has to do with believing in yourself. And we all question ourselves in our daily life and things that we do, and we don't think whether it's good enough or we're smart enough or we're creative enough or whatever. We for some reason it's really easy to question ourselves, and so. I'm constantly tested with these workshops. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely good to continue to question, and so that you get the chance to reaffirm that, we can do this in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you get to the end and you're like, you know what, I can do anything.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, definitely sounds like a great work that you're doing, empowering people, helping people find their voices and stuff like that. So we definitely appreciate that. We need all that in Mississippi and everywhere.
You do.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. This has been Chandler Griffin, and I'm Peyton, and this is the 2012 Crossroads Film Festival, and hope to see you next year, 2013. Thanks.